Hey y'all, it's Sierra here, aka Capricorn Moon Goddess, and I wanted to come to you all with this video about the Rider-Waite tarot card meanings. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing the universal meanings, the meanings that everyone pretty much agrees on, and I will be telling you all some of the meanings that I feel like come into play with these as well. So disclaimer time. My son is in the living room watching TV and playing with his toys, so you all may hear that in the background. Also, I am recovering from a sinus infection. Oh my goodness, I was out for days. Like, this one really took me out. So hopefully y'all can understand me and hear me and I don't sound too stuffy. But I need to get this done. I have so many things to do. So I'm trying to cross this off of my list. This is going to be in a slideshow format because it was just easier for me that way than trying to record myself showing y'all all of the cards. Also, I do have a tarot diary or a tarot journal that I created, so I had this stuff typed up already. So why learn the Rider-Waite system? There are several different card divination systems and card reading systems out there. So why would you choose the Rider-Waite system? A lot of people don't want to start with this because the cards tend to be a little bit bland when you compare them to some of the other cards out there. Some of the newer cards, people are starting to get very creative. People are starting to be more inclusive as far as the different cultures that are represented. The Rider-Waite system, just flat out European culture. You don't see any people of color. They have recreated, I think there's like the melanated tarot or something like that. I need to get that now that I'm saying that, but there are some newer versions, but the original version is a good foundation, and it's good to start with because a lot of other cards are based on the Rider-Waite system. So even though it's a modern version, it has a modern twist, it has the twist of whoever created it, the foundation is still the Rider-Waite system. So it'll just make it easier for you to be able to read pretty much any deck of cards if you understand the Rider-Waite system. Also, learning numerology, symbolism, colors, what all that stuff means will help you as well. So that's why I would say it's beneficial to go ahead and learn the Rider-Waite system first, because it serves as a foundation and then you can build upon that as you continue to learn more. So the Rider-Waite system, also known as RWS, so you will see that I have abbreviated it. It consists of major arcana cards and 4 suits. So there are 78 cards in total. 22 of those are major arcana. I will discuss what that is in the next slide. And then you have the suit of cups, pentacles, swords, and wands. And we will go over what each of those stands for. All right, so as far as the major arcana, it consists of 22 trump cards. So these are cards that have a little bit more importance. They're a little bit more significant than the other cards. So for example, you have 4 queens in the deck: the Queen of Swords, Queen of Cups, Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Wands. So those represent money, finances, emotions, intuition, ambition, things of that nature. Each of the queens has a specialty. So example, the Queen of Cups, the specialty would be the intuition and emotions. But the Empress card, which is a major arcana card, encompasses all 4 of the queens. So that is somebody that has a balance of emotions, money, abundance, intuition, intelligence, things of that nature. Another example would be like the High Priestess versus the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups, again, very intuitive, but the High Priestess is intuitive on another level. She has access to information that not just anybody is privy to. So it's like a Queen of Cups on another level. So if you think about the Major Arcana card, as far as hierarchy goes, they're a little bit higher than the other cards in the deck. They can also indicate life-changing events. They can indicate life lessons, and they can indicate the overall theme of the reading. Sorry, y'all, I'm gonna have to keep clearing my throat because this sinus infection. So we're going to go ahead and go over the 22 Major Arcana cards, starting with the Fool. Okay, so you can read the cards upright, meaning when they fall out of the deck or when you pull the card, it's in an upright position. Or you can read reversals, meaning when it comes out of the deck, it's flipped around. It's upside down, essentially. Some people use reversals, some people don't. You don't have to read reversals. A card can come upright and it could still, you may still get, feel as if the reverse meaning or the negative side, the shadow side of that card is what information you're needing to relay. So it's up to you whether or not you read reversals. Think of reversals as the opposite of the upright meaning. So the upright meaning of the Fool: leap of faith, carefree, new adventure, travel, spontaneity. I hope I said that right. Being spontaneous. And the reverse is recklessness, carelessness, negligence, lack of faith. Okay, so this can all be kind of like opinion based. So as you can see in the card, the person looks like they're coming to the end of a cliff. It looks like they're not really paying attention. I can just hear them humming in their head as they're walking along. Excuse me. So it could be that they may end up falling off of the cliff, or it could be they are taking a leap of faith and they're going to land on their feet. So it just depends on the energy that you're getting as far as which meaning you're gonna get from that. And next we have the Magician. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. Think of this as the Alchemist. If you understand archetypes, this would be more like the Alchemist. Think about manifestation. So the upright is resourcefulness, alchemist, manifestation, skillful. And the reverse can be someone who is manipulative, trickery, impure intentions, lack of resourcefulness. If you see in the cards, they have every element from all of the suits. So they have pentacles, they have cups, they have swords, they have wands. So this is somebody that has all of the resources at their disposal to manifest what they want. So the easiest way to think of the Magician is to think about manifestation. Let's see, what is the next? And we're not going to go over the symbolism in every single card because this video would be way too long. It's already going to be long. So just know that I'm not going to go over all of the symbolism. Okay, so next we have the Empress. And the upright can represent creativity, fertility, pregnancy, nurturing, confidence, maternal security, and well-balanced. The reverse can represent fertility issues, creative blocks, insecurity, and mommy issues. Next, we have the High Priestess. The upright can represent someone who is highly intuitive, feminine energy, subconscious, wise, and intelligent. So as you can see, she has a scroll in her hand. I don't know what the scroll says. I forgot. But usually when you see a scroll in ancient text, it is something that holds important information. It's something that holds secretive information, some sort of message. So use that to kind of remember, you know, this represents the subconscious mind. This represents intuition. The reverse is intuitive blocks, feminine energy out of balance. And there's more to that, but again, we would be here all day if we got into all of the symbolism on each card. Next, we have the Emperor, which can represent stability, dependability, authority figure, practicality, a father figure, and a leader. The reverse can be controlling, rigid, stubborn, poor leadership skills, and daddy issues. And the zodiac sign that is associated with the Emperor is Aries. So some of the major arcana cards are associated with zodiac signs. I can't remember if the Aries is represented by a ram or not, but there are rams. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but there are rams on the chair. So if that helps you to remember that it's associated with Aries, that may be something you want to kind of lean on to help you remember the meaning. Also, I can see the root chakra when I see this card, just because of the red that he's wearing. Red can represent the root chakra. And also because he represents stability. And the root chakra is about stability. So you'll want to just kind of incorporate some of the things that you already know, some of the symbolism that you already know with the foundation, the foundational meaning of the cards, and the intuitive information that you're receiving, and that's going to help you to read. So the difference between tarot cards and oracle cards are more open to interpretation, but tarot cards do have a foundational meaning that you can build on. So that's what I would say, because a lot of people ask, what is the difference between tarot and oracle cards? I would say with tarot, there are specific meanings that everyone pretty much agrees to when it comes to the cards. So next we have the Hierophant, which can represent religion, tradition, rules and regulation, traditional values, conformity, marriage, beliefs, a teacher, or a commitment. And the reverse can represent unconventional and non-traditional. And the sign that is associated with is Taurus. I don't know if I said the Hierophant can represent marriage or not, but it can represent marriage as well. Okay, next we have the Lover's card, which can represent love, soulmates, partnerships, union, mutual, mirroring. The reverse can be lack of connection or disharmony. As far as the upright, when it comes to partnerships, that can be business or romantic. And then the zodiac it's associated with is the Gemini. If it helps you to remember, it has the two people here. You know, Gemini is the twin. These aren't necessarily twins, but they are two sides of the same coin. So you have the masculine or the feminine and the masculine here. So that may help you to remember, you know, which sign is associated with. Okay, so next we have the Chariot. This represents forward movement, overcoming obstacles, willpower, and victory. And the reverse can represent lack of direction, trouble overcoming obstacles, powerlessness, lack of determination, and loss of control. It is associated with the zodiac Cancer. So as you can see, some of these cards are just straightforward. The Chariot. What is a chariot? A chariot is a vehicle. It is something that people use to move forward, to move from one space to another. So you can use, I'm going to say common sense for lack of a better phrase, even though people say, you know, common sense isn't so common, but you can use some common sense when it comes to tarot. Again, it's less open to interpretation than oracles are. So you do want to use common sense. What do you already know? All right. So next we have strength. Again, straightforward. We know what strength is. Courage, inner strength, confidence, things going in your favor. So a lot of times people want to know, how do you get yes or no answers with tarot cards? Strength, I would say, would be a yes card. This is a positive card. So if I'm wanting to know if I should move forward with something, Strength card would be a yes to me. The Chariot card would be a yes to me. Yes, move forward. So again, kind of use common sense when you're reading tarot. The reverse can be self-doubt, low self-esteem, inadequacy, and the zodiac is Leo. As you can see, there is a lion in this card. As far as chakras, I feel like this could represent the solar plexus chakra because of the yellow. But some people may not get solar plexus from that, and that's okay. Some people might possibly say root chakra because it's talking about you know, having inner strength. But again, you want to go with what stands out to you. Sometimes when you're reading, one thing will stand out in the card, and then when you read that same card again, something else will come to mind. So that's where the intuition and the energy of the situation comes into play. Okay, so next we have the Hermit. This can represent soul searching, self-reflection, solitude, spiritual enlightenment, and introspection. The reverse can be isolation, loneliness, and being antisocial, and it is represented, or it represents the zodiac Virgo. So as you can see, this card looks like somebody who might be in a cave, or they might be in the dark. They're by themselves. So it's just, you know, being by yourself, taking the time to reflect on yourself. We know what hermits are. Okay, so again, a lot of this stuff is straightforward. I'm so sorry. Oh, I have to keep clearing my throat. Okay, so next we have Wheel of Fortune. This can represent end of a cycle, fate, change, good fortune, and karma. And the reverse can be unwanted change or a change for the worst. Next we have Justice. Justice can represent the zodiac Libra. I am a Libra sun. So a lot of the times when the Justice card comes up when I'm doing a reading for myself, that's me. It represents me in the reading. But it can also represent balance, justice, fairness, karmic rewards, legal matter, life lessons. The reverse can be injustice, karmic consequences, and corruption. So as you can see, this person has a scale in their hands to represent balance. They have the sword up, like they're going to enact quick, swift justice. So if you can remember, this is associated with Libra and you know what Libra stands for, that can help you in your readings. But again, justice is pretty straightforward. So just knowing what justice means can help you as well. Okay, so next we have the Hanged Man. This can represent uncertainty, releasing, letting go, change in perspective, and re-evaluation. You can see this person is upside down. So when you're hanging upside down, your perspective is not the same as when you are upright. This can also represent, in the reverse, stagnation, negative perspective, and moving too fast. So it could mean you need to take time to slow down and readjust and reevaluate a situation. Next, we have the Death card. This can represent rebirth, endings, beginnings, transformations, releasing negative patterns, and severing ties. So, although it sounds immediately like a negative card, sometimes we want things to come to an end. There are some things that need to come to an end. If something comes to an end, it can be a good thing. Okay, so don't immediately feel like this is bad and something horrible is going to happen because you get the Death card. It can simply just mean severing ties, something ending so something new can happen. In the reverse, it can mean refusing to let go, resisting change, holding on to things that don't serve you, and it is represented by the zodiac Scorpio, or it represents Scorpio. Next, we have Temperance. So this card represents balance, peace, synergy, harmony, moderation, self-control, and patience. The reverse can be imbalance, impatient, and disharmony. And the zodiac it represents can be Sagittarius. Now, when we're talking about impatience and balance, for the most part, in my opinion, this card is talking about emotional balance and not necessarily imbalance when it comes to finances or intellect or ambition. And that's because you can see this person has one of their feet in the water and they have cups in this card. So we haven't gotten to cups yet, but cups in the Rider-Waite represent emotions, the subconscious mind, and the intuition. So for me, in my opinion, Temperance is more talking about balance when it comes to those type of things. Let's see what else. We have the Devil card. Now, this can represent Capricorn. Capricorn is my moon sign. That is why my name is Capricorn Moon Goddess. I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart. So I don't know why the Devil represents Capricorn. I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. But anyways, it can represent addiction, depression, bondage, violence, assault, codependency, obsession, controlling, possessiveness, toxicity, jealousy, self-sabotage, and unhealthy attachments. Okay? So again, you can look at the imagery, unhealthy attachments. These people are literally looking like they're chained to the devil. But also self-sabotage. So this can be mental enslavement. This could be you're the devil. You're the person that's holding yourself back. Or it can be somebody else that's holding you back. In the reverse, it can represent overcoming addiction, freedom, reclaiming power, and independence. So again, reversals can represent the opposite of what the upright meaning is. So sometimes getting a reversal is bad and sometimes getting a reversal is good. It just depends on what the upright meaning is. And I think I already said this represents Capricorn. So next we have the Tower. Doesn't this look like a card that no one would want? It can represent chaos, upheaval, destruction, loss, tragedy, disaster, sudden traumatic change. And the reverse could be resisting change, delaying the inevitable, and avoiding loss or tragedy. There are some cases where this card literally just means a change is going to happen. And sometimes it's more drastic. And it can be detrimental. So again, it just depends on what the surrounding cards are. Okay, next we have the Star card. So this represents renewal, hope, wish being granted. I feel like this can also represent navigation or being shown the way, because people would use stars to navigate. They would use stars to find their way. And in The Lion King, Simba would talk to his dad in the stars and get direction from him. So sometimes for me, the Star card can represent receiving some sort of direction or navigation, or a light being shown on what your next steps should be. In the reverse, it can represent hopelessness and despair, and it represents the sign of Aquarius. Since it represents the sign of Aquarius, I would say in the reverse, it could probably represent detachment as well, if I didn't already say that. All right, next we have the Moon card. This can represent illusion, intuition, deception, subconscious, secrets, hidden meaning, dreams, and lack of clarity. In the reverse, it can represent lifting the veil. So being able to see what wasn't previously known or obvious. Being able to see what was being hidden. Also, self-deception and truths coming out, and this can represent the sign of Pisces. Next, we have the Sun. So this can represent the zodiac Leo. So the strength can be Leo, but the Sun can be Leo as well. It represents joy, positivity, successful, happiness, pregnancy, if it is near the Empress card. It can also represent source. In the reverse, it can represent pessimism, unenthusiastic, sadness, egotistical, negative thought patterns. This can also represent the solar plexus chakra. I mean, solar plexus, sun. So you got sunflowers in the card. So again, use what you already know to kind of help you read when you're doing readings for people. That's why we're all able to read the exact same the exact same deck of cards, and get different interpretations and different readings each time we do a new reading, because we are using our intuition with the information we already know. Okay, so next we have the Judgment card, which can represent self-evaluation, awakening, finding your calling, decisiveness, epiphanies, and speaking your truth. The reverse can be karmic lessons, self-doubt, and indecisiveness. I don't know why, but I feel like this represents like Gabriel from the Bible, the angel. I don't know if that's what they wanted this to be, but it reminds me of that. And the trumpet kind of reminds me of the Bible as well. So I don't usually get like you're actually being judged from this card. This is one of the cards that isn't exactly literal with what the name of it is. But it could mean that in the sense of karmic lessons. Okay, so let's see. We also have the World, which represents completing a cycle, achievement, ascension, and travel. And in the reverse, it can represent stagnation, failure to complete a cycle, and disappointment. All right, so now we're going to get into the different suits in the deck. We're going to talk about cups now. The cups can represent the subconscious mind. It can represent emotion, love, relationships, intuition, and the water signs. The water signs consist of Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio, and I would associate the cups with the heart chakra. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the Ace of Cups. Anytime you see the ace in a deck, it's usually going to represent some sort of new beginning, some sort of new opportunity, and the opportunity or new beginning is specific to whichever suit. So right now we have the suit of cups. So the Ace of Cups can represent new relationships, creativity, overflowing love, an abundance of love, emotional satisfaction, increase in psychic abilities, fulfillment, romantically. I probably should have said romantic fulfillment because that sounds better. Conception and or pregnancy. The reverse can represent unrequited love, sadness, repressed emotions, fertility issues, unfulfillment, and spiritual disconnection. Next, we have the Two of Cups, which can represent mutual love, a union, soulmates, unity, compatibility, harmony, partnerships, whether it be love, emotional, friendship, or business. It can be either one. This is usually talking about love though. Reciprocation, mutual support, and respect. And the reverse can be disharmony, incompatible, separation, disconnection, lack of reciprocation, and inequality. The Three of Cups can represent celebrations, reunions, social gatherings, and collaborations. The reverse can be third-party interference, cheating, canceled events, and too much partying, not enough adulting. Okay. Next we have the Four of Cups, which can represent being indifferent, daydreaming, distracted, boredom, disinterested, apathy, contemplation, refusing an offer, meditation, self-absorbed, and being withdrawn. It can also represent not necessarily being able to see an opportunity that's coming your way because you are so distracted, or because you are focusing on, not necessarily the good. So this can be seen as this person may not even see this cup that's being offered to them because they're not paying attention. They are so enthralled in whatever the heck they're thinking about. In the reverse, this can represent self-awareness, enthusiastic interest, accepting an offer or an opportunity. The Five of Cups can represent sadness, grief, loss, despair, remorse, isolation, loneliness, guilt, emotional trauma, heartbreak, guilt again. I don't know why I have guilt twice. Separation, sorrow, regret, and pessimism. And the reverse can represent healing, forgiveness, releasing negative emotions, overcoming emotional trauma, and acceptance. Okay, you will hear a lot of people saying, oh, this person is focusing on the 3 cups that fell down instead of looking at the 2 cups that are still standing up. So this is a glass half empty kind of situation. So you can look at that as well. Also, if you know what the number 5 can represent, 5 can sometimes mean a change. So this can be a negative change based on this particular card, unless it is upside down. Next, we are going to talk about the 6 of Cups. 6 can represent family when it comes to numerology. So the upright can be nostalgia, childhood, memories, joy, playfulness, innocence, past lover returning, somebody trying to come back, youthful, innocence, immaturity, holding on to the past, and stagnation. So this can be, you know, that Mercury retrograde card when everybody, you know, all your exes start calling you. This can be that, okay? The reverse can be letting go of the past, maturity, stolen innocence, childhood abuse, and addressing inner child issues, okay? The 7 of Cups can represent options, many options, choices, fantasizing, wishful thinking, multiple opportunities, daydreaming, decisions, illusion, meditation, and indecisiveness. The reverse can represent materialistic, lack of options, lack of opportunity, getting a reality check, avoidance, procrastination, overwhelming number of options and decisions. So sometimes having a lot of options is a good thing. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. This can also represent the card sometimes of people who have a bunch of ideas in their head and they don't actually execute. So this is the stage of I'm getting the ideas, I'm fantasizing about them, I'm thinking about what I want to do, but you also need to pull the trigger and start executing as well. So this can be a good card or a bad card. It just depends on the energy of the reading. Next, we have the 8 of Cups. This can represent going on a journey, walking away from something, escapism, abandonment, traveling, self-discovery, and truth-seeking. In the reverse, it can represent stagnation, fear of abandonment, aloofness, staying in a situation that does not serve you or your highest good, staying in a situation that does not make you happy. Look at the moon's face in this card. Like, why? Why does the moon look like that? It looks like it's unhappy. All right, next we have the 9 of Cups. This can represent wish fulfillment, abundance, luxury, achievement, satisfaction, success, and rewards. The reverse can represent feeling unfulfilled, an underachiever, disappointment, greed, and overindulgence. What do they call that? Gluttony, I think. Y'all double check me on that. But I think gluttony kind of represents greed or overindulging. Anyways, isn't that like one of the 7 deadly sins or something like that? Y'all see how I can get distracted? Okay, so 10 of Cups. Happiness, happy family, commitment, marriage, domestic happiness, blessings, bliss, harmony, children, emotional fulfillment. The reverse can be broken home, unhappy home, dysfunction, separation, disconnection, disharmony, divorce, emotional abuse, or instability. Next, we have the Page of Cups. Now, when you all see the pages in the deck, pages typically represent messengers. So it can represent, the Page of Cups specifically can represent intuitive messages, good news, inner voice, creativity, kindness, emotionally mature, innocence, and developing sexually. The reverse can represent immaturity, obsession, ignoring your inner voice, inner child wounds, bad news, being an attention seeker, jealousy, creative blocks, intuitive blocks, ignoring intuition, promiscuity, and seduction. Next, we have the Knight of Cups. So you can equate the Knight of Cups to the Knight of shining armor if it is upright. So this represents charm, romance, chivalry, creativity, emotional vulnerability, loyalty, imaginative, and romantic proposals. The reverse can represent immaturity, manipulative, heartbreaker, creative blocks, deception, unrequited love, and obsession. Next, we have the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups can represent compassion, intuition, nurturing, loving, empathetic, psychic abilities, motherly, supportive, and a healer. The reverse can represent someone who is self-centered, manipulative, smothering, needy, overextending yourself to others, depression, and being shallow. The King of Cups, again, someone who is compassionate, diplomatic, emotionally balanced, charming, supportive, committed, a married male or a married man, romantic, calm, creative, and intuitive. The reverse can represent somebody that's moody, cruel, emotionally immature, ruthless, unbalanced, depressed, manipulative, and aggression. All right, so we made it through the cups. Let's talk about the pentacles. Think of pentacles as being coins. So the pentacles are talking about health, finances, physicality, things that are tangible, things that are in the physical realm, things that you can see, touch, okay? So material and tangible things, finances, career, opportunity, and the earth signs. The earth signs consist of Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo. This can represent the root chakra, and it is the earth element, so it can represent earth. I'm sitting with my legs crossed. My foot is like falling asleep right now. Okay, so the Ace of Pentacles. Remember what the aces represent: newness, new opportunities. So new financial success, prosperity, new job, new business opportunity, successful manifestation. So actually seeing your manifestations materialize, as well as wealth. In the reverse, it can represent lost opportunities, lack of financial planning, financial instability, failures, and being materialistic. All right, next we're going to talk about the Two of Pentacles. As you can see in this card, it looks like the person is trying to juggle two pentacles, two coins. Think of the pentacles as being priorities. So this is about balance, multitasking, having multiple priorities, juggling responsibilities, decisions having to be made, adaptability. In the reverse, it can represent losing focus. I think I spelled losing wrong. Losing focus, like I just lost focus by looking at how I spelled that. Lack of balance, financial struggles, overwhelmed with responsibilities, overextended, and needing to reprioritize. The Three of Pentacles can represent teamwork, collaboration, hard work, craftsmanship, being detail-oriented, dedication, goal-oriented, learning, and mentorship. It looks like this person that's standing on this bench is telling these other people, showing these other two people what to do. So they're all about to work on some sort of project together. The reverse can be unorganized, disharmony, lack of drive, lack of dedication, lack of effort, unwillingness to learn, being lazy, and conflict. So the Four of Pentacles, as you can see, this person is holding on to their pentacles by any means necessary. They have one on their head, one in their hands, and two under their feet. Okay, it's like they're looking at you like, I want you to try to come take one of my pentacles. So this talks about withholding something, holding back, hoarding, saving money, being frugal, greed, possessiveness, staying to yourself, being conservative, being controlling, or having control. I would more so say having control. Security and self-preservation. So this could be good or bad. It just depends on the energy of the reading. The reverse can be overspending, financial loss, or instability, reckless spending, letting go of a thought process. Most likely the thought process that would be let go would be a lack mindset. Generosity, openness, overly giving, and gambling. So let's say you got the Devil card and you got the Four of Pentacles in reverse. That can represent somebody that is addicted to gambling. So you see how you can read the cards together. The Devil card represents addictions and bad habits, and the Four of Pentacles can represent gambling. So you put those together, bam, you got somebody that has a gambling habit. So if you're wondering how to read cards together, that's kind of how you do it. But we're going to stick to what the meaning of the cards are for now. Okay, so Five of Pentacles can represent poverty, hardship, feeling left out in the cold, which is pretty clear in this card, outcast, financial loss, poverty and lack mindset, and being spiritually broken. The reverse can represent improvement in finances, recovery from losses, and overcoming positive change. Now you may want to know, why does it represent spiritually broken? We're talking about pentacles right here. Wouldn't that be in the, cups cards? Well, if you look at the card, you can see this looks like a stained glass, and stained glass windows usually represent churches. So the religious aspect is coming in because of that. And oftentimes, if you are broken spiritually and mentally and emotionally, that will manifest itself in the way your finances look. So if you are broke financially, that can indicate that you are spiritually broken as well. So that can be, where that spiritually broken definition is coming from when it comes to the Five of Pentacles. I don't know if I read the reverse or not, so I'm going to read it. The reverse can be improvement in finances, recovery from losses, and overcoming, as well as positive change. Next, we have the Six of Pentacles. Think of this card as giving and receiving, or reciprocity. So again, it can represent giving, receiving, charity, sharing, assistance, an investor, support, donations, gifts, wealth, high status, fairness, being in a position to give to others, or receiving a loan. The reverse can represent you are receiving gifts, but there are strings attached. The upright can represent strings attached as well. Selfish, abuse of power, undervalued, underpaid, being gullible, or scammed. So this can represent somebody who uses their money to manipulate people, or it can represent somebody who scams people out of their money. They make it seem like they're trying to help you, and they really are not. They're really just trying to scam you. It can also just represent generosity, being helpful, being on the receiving end, not always being the person that's giving, but actually receiving things as well. So again, I'm gonna keep saying this. Y'all probably like, why you keep saying that? It depends on the energy of the reading. A lot of this stuff depends on the energy of the reading. Next, we have the Seven of Pentacles. This can represent cultivation, kind of like gardening. You plant your seeds and you don't see the results tomorrow. You don't see the results next week sometimes. It might take months, but You are waiting on the fruits of your labor. So this represents having patience, results that are pending, hard work paying off, planning, perseverance, long-term investment. The reverse can represent lack of patience, no return on your investment, unfavorable results, laziness. So, not having such a great harvest. The Eight of Pentacles can represent craftsmanship, quality, mastery, dedication, concentration, ambition, being detail-oriented, productivity, and developing your skills. The reverse can represent inability to concentrate, being a perfectionist in a bad way. Sometimes it's okay to be a perfectionist. Sometimes that can actually hold you back. It can also represent laziness, poor quality, underqualified, repetitive task, and mediocrity. Is mediocrity a word, or is it mediocrity? I don't know. Being mediocre. Okay. Nine of Pentacles can represent independence. This is like Neo song, Miss Independence. This is like she got her own bag. This is like she is the complete package. I'm saying she because it mostly represents feminine energy or a single woman who isn't married. It can represent, a man as well. But for the most part, this is read as a single woman that has her stuff together. This can represent being prosperous, abundance, successful, sophisticated, elegance, retirement, luxury, investment. And the way that I like to look at this, as far as independence, it can represent being an entrepreneur and not having to work for somebody else. Not having to answer to somebody else. So again, it can be a man or a woman in that case. We also have the reverse as loneliness, insecurity, financial instability, poor work-life balance, superficial and lack of self-discipline. Where is your comma after superficial, Sierra? Next, we have 10 of Pentacles. Inheritance, windfall, family-owned business, financial stability, generational wealth, secure foundation, domestic happiness, and marriage. The reverse can represent bankruptcy, financial disputes, a rocky foundation, discord, non-traditional family, large losses, and debt. Next, we have the Page of Pentacles. So this can represent good news. Remember, the pages are messengers. It can also represent setting goals, envisioning, manifesting, developing a plan, preparation, focus, and ambition. The reverse can represent procrastination, lack of drive, bad news, and lack of ambition. The Knight of Pentacles can represent persistence, being a hard worker, practical, slow but steady. By that, most of the time when you see the Knight of Pentacles, this represents pretty much guaranteed results, but it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not something that's going to happen right away. This is more, in the possibly near future, but it's in the future, meaning it's not tomorrow. It's not anytime soon, okay? But it is something that is probably going to come to pass, whatever this goal is. It can represent being responsible, loyal, supportive, reliable, methodical, and productive. The reverse can represent stagnation, boredom, laziness, irresponsible, disloyal, unreliable, overly conservative, being a workaholic, and not following through, not executing. Next, we have the Queen of Pentacles. This can represent a grounded woman, a mature woman, a mentor. By mature, it could be like a grandmother, a motherly figure, somebody that's older than you, or just has a more mature mindset. This is somebody that is very sensible, generous, nurturing, the ideal mother figure, no nonsense, helpful. It can represent fortune and practicality. It can also, in the reverse, represent being disorganized, impractical, a bad mom, being materialistic, financial setback, unkind, neglect, the need for work-life balance, and someone who is manipulative. So they may be acting like they want to help you, but it could be like the Six of Pentacles where there's strings attached. The King of Pentacles represents a mature male, a grounded male, supportive, achiever, prosperous, high status, business-minded. It can represent luxury, someone who is generous, uses their knowledge to gain profit, someone who is encouraging and a leader. The reverse can represent someone who is egotistical, materialistic, unsuccessful, corrupt, underqualified, and discouraging. All right, we got the Pentacles done. Now let's talk about the Swords. The Swords can represent communication. It can represent the mind, the mentality, the belief systems. It can represent intellect, thoughts, communication, and the air signs. The air signs consist of Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, and this can be associated with the throat chakra since the throat chakra represents communication. All right, so the Ace of Swords represents new ideas, mental clarity, intellectual, someone who is being stimulated intellectually or something that is intellectually stimulating, clear communication, truths being revealed, and new beginnings. The reverse can represent intellectual blocks, confusion, misinformation, feeling unstimulated, lack of communication, or being at an impasse. The Two of Swords can represent someone who is indecisive, willful blindness, stalemate, difficult decisions, avoidance, denial, and confusion. And the reverse can represent information overload, inability to hear your inner voice, and feeling stuck in the middle. The Three of Swords looks pretty obvious from the picture, right? It can represent heartbreak, betrayal, sorrow, loss, trauma, sadness, rejection, separation, loneliness. The reverse can represent forgiveness, releasing heartache and pain, and recovery. The Four of Swords can represent resting, retreating, needing rejuvenation, anxiety, stress, being overwhelmed, and recuperation. And the reverse can represent lack of self-care, burnout, healing, and reaching a breaking point. So this can be the card that says, hey, you need to stop and do some self-care. You need to stop and take care of yourself. You need to just chill, chill for a minute, okay? So that's what the Four of Swords can represent. The Five of Swords can represent conflict, defeat, deception, fighting dirty, hostility, aggression, bullying, intimidation, fighting with harsh words, and hitting below the belt. Okay, if you ever heard the term fighting words, this is what the Five of Swords can represent. The reverse can be compromise, resolution, and overcoming communication issues. The Six of Swords can represent moving on emotionally, moving past a situation, travel, moving towards calmer waters, escaping, but it can also represent moving on but still carrying some baggage with you, still being a little bit sad, which is, you know, we're human, that happens. The reverse can represent a delay in travel plans, not being able to move past the situation, lack of progress, moving from one negative situation right on into another, and feeling overwhelmed. Who is texting me right now? Let me see really quick. All right, so we have the Seven of Swords. Sorry, I'm being distracted. There's a lot of people favoriting my stuff in my Etsy shop right now. Y'all go ahead and just pull the trigger and go ahead and hit purchase. Okay. Seven of Swords can represent sneaky, being deceitful, trickery, false mask, manipulation, cunning, stealing, being two-faced, being malicious, Being malicious, a con artist. The reverse can represent coming clean, not being fooled, outwitting, getting caught, and ignoring signs. The Eight of Swords can represent feeling trapped, but this is more of mental. So feeling mentally trapped, being mentally imprisoned, hopeless, self-imprisonment, meaning these are your own thoughts. You're holding yourself back. Negative thought patterns, being constricted, bound, oppression, fear-based thinking. The reverse can be escape, freedom, empowered, taking control, solution-based thinking, and mental strength. The Nine of Swords can represent anxiety, nightmares, fear, worry, stress, despair, insomnia, and feeling overwhelmed. And the reverse can represent releasing anxiety or worry, recovery, or it can mean extreme depression. Okay, so the Ten of Swords can represent betrayal. It can mean the end of a painful situation. And y'all are like, look at this picture. Does this look like the end, all right? Like the end of that person's, life here on this earth. So think about 10 as being the end of a cycle. Think about basically rock bottom. You see rock bottom is up here. So when they say when people are at rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. So that's like this kind of card. Like you've been through all of the stages of grief and feeling betrayed. So now you are at a point where you can start lifting yourself back up again. So that is what the Ten of Swords can mean, and that's what it means by the end of a painful situation. In the reverse, it can mean regeneration, issues coming back, relapse, or it can mean recovery. So again, is it relapse or is it recovery? Depends on the energy of the reading. Next, we have the Page of Swords. This is somebody that's chatty, transparent, may not think before they speak, communicative, direct, inquisitive, quick-witted, educated, a student, somebody that's studying, somebody that is learning, someone that is young or youthful, or youthful in the sense of always being open to learning more. So not being set in their ways like how people like to say older people are. The reverse can be scatterbrained. As y'all can see, that can be me sometimes. Abrasive, tactless, cynical, difficulties with learning and receiving disappointing news. The Knight of Swords can represent somebody that is impulsive, brave, ambitious, a risk taker, goes after what they want, big changes coming up, fearless, focused, a hero, a champion, someone who is intentional, and someone is driven. The reverse can represent moving too fast, lack of control, arrogance, aggressiveness, forcefulness, tactless, lack of focus, and lack of drive. So, the reverse can just represent lack. Okay, so the Queen of Swords. Someone who is clever, intelligent, blunt, to the point, sophisticated, articulate, honest, communicates well, wise, fair, witty, and someone who is a realist. The reverse can be someone who is scornful, spiteful, bitter, pessimistic, harsh, non-empathetic, rude, lack of mental clarity. Okay, so the King of Swords is someone who is logical, intelligent, stern, structured, rational, an authority figure, disciplined, militant, blunt, knowledgeable, emotionally detached, articulate, practical, and mindful. So I'm an air sign and I have a lot of Capricorn. So sometimes it's logic over emotions. Logic over emotions, which can come off as emotionally detached or unempathetic sometimes. The reverse can be cold, harsh, hypercritical, vengeful, erratic, irrational, oppressive, aggressive, ruthless, weak-minded, and judgmental. Okay, this is the last I believe. The wands. So the wands can represent strength, movement, action, inspiration, confidence, sexual energy. Sometimes people will liken the wands to a certain male body part. Okay, so that's where that sexual energy is coming from. So they can represent creativity, social life, ambition, passion, or the fire signs, which consist of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. It can represent the sacral chakra. So by passion, it can be sexual passion and romantic passion, which would be connected to the sacral chakra. But also by passion, it can be creativity and entrepreneurship, and business. So that's where you can get the solar plexus, because it can represent someone who is living out their life purpose, essentially. So that's why I feel it can represent the solar plexus and the sacral chakra, but you come to your own conclusions about that. All right, so the Ace of Wands, inspiration, potential, sexual energy, taking action, increase in creative energy, your desires being manifested, new ideas, motivation, spiritual growth, spark in creativity, increased passion, new opportunities, and fertility. The reverse can represent lack of inspiration, stagnation, lack of direction, delays, lost opportunities, creative blocks, bad news, and lack of passion or initiative. The Two of Wands can represent having to make a decision between two different options or more, different paths, making a choice between something, contemplating, planning, travel, anticipation, and discovery. The reverse can represent fear of the unknown, being indecisive, lack of planning, fear of change, the need to strategize, and reluctance. The Three of Wands can represent waiting for your ships to come in, expanding your horizons, waiting on communication, foresight, progression, and travel. So this can just represent a waiting period. The reverse can represent unexpected delays, self-doubt, lack of planning, and lack of foresight. The Four of Wands can represent happy family, celebration, reunion, stability, weddings, joy, harmony, security, achievements, and some people will say it represents the 1111 portal. If you don't know what 1111 spiritual number is, look it up. Okay, but you can see two wands on each side, which can represent the number 11. So basically being open and in alignment to receiving more information, good news, being in alignment spiritually. And the reverse can be lack of support, unstable, family life, instability in relationships, canceled or postponed celebrations. So never mind. I was about to talk about that little virus that we're dealing with, but I'm not gonna bring that up. Unhappy, uprooted, and insecurities. Next, we have the Five of Wands that can represent conflict, fighting, struggle, aggression, competition, tension, and disagreements. The reverse can represent fighting or disagreements coming to an end, agreements being reached, avoiding conflict, and not having any competition. The Six of Wands can represent public recognition, victory, fame, being in the spotlight, success, validation, external validation, meaning other people are validating you, triumph, and receiving praise. The reverse can represent lack of recognition, disgrace, attention seekers, being egotistical, a lack of support, and losing. I don't want to say loser, so we're going to say losing. The Seven of Wands can represent standing your ground, self-defense, being defensive, assertiveness, stamina, your character being attacked and you having to defend that, maintaining control, fighting for a worthy cause. The reverse can represent giving up, defeat, quitting, lack of confidence, being a pushover, or feeling worn down. The Eight of Wands represents receiving communication and rather fast communication, rapid moving, progression, quickly taking off, gaining momentum. The reverse can represent rushing, hastiness, moving too fast, losing momentum, slow movement, or slow progress. The Nine of Wands can represent perseverance, almost being there but not quite there yet. Being guarded, preparing for trouble or obstacles that lie ahead. Look at his face. He's looking like, oh, what am I going to have to deal with next? What is coming up next? Feeling drained or weary, but hanging in there. The reverse can represent having a chip on your shoulder, giving in, paranoia, feeling overcome by obstacles, and being pessimistic. The Ten of Wands can represent feeling like you are heavily burdened, overwhelmed, exhausted, carrying a heavy load, taking on too much responsibility, persistence, and being taken for granted. The reverse can be breaking down, letting go, burnout, carrying too much weight on your shoulders, not allowing other people to help you, delegating or the need to delegate so you are not feeling overwhelmed, overly burdened, and unappreciated, basically. The Page of Wands represents discovery, great potential, new ideas, creative sparks, having a fresh outlook, being enthusiastic, being free-spirited, inspired, optimistic, energetic, fun, and charismatic. The reverse can represent limiting beliefs, naive or naivete, being gullible, hasty, childish, closed-minded, having a lack of confidence, and feeling uninspired. The Knight of Wands sometimes can be associated with F-boy energy, okay? Somebody that's flirtatious, charming, ambitious, risk taker, going after what you want, being adventurous, being fearless, and being rebellious. The reverse can be immature, being a player. That's that F-boy energy I was talking about, or F-girl. Acting without thinking things through, being hot-tempered, being reckless, showing off, being aggressive, having a lack of self-control, being passive, and being impulsive. So, you know, sometimes the Knight of Wands energy is needed and sometimes it's not the best. It just depends on what you're doing the reading on. The Queen of Wands can represent a social butterfly, independence, being vivacious, magnetic, and sensual, being attractive, charismatic, passionate, fertility, accomplished, being a multitasker, and being a visionary. The reverse can be antisocial, unfriendly, unorganized, overwhelmed, undetermined, having a lack of confidence, being mean-spirited, arrogant, conceited, and it can represent jealousy. The King of Wands is somebody who is passionate, magnetic, sexual, attractive, goal-oriented, creative, a visionary, an entrepreneur, action-oriented, a natural-born leader, and charismatic. The reverse can be someone who is pushy, self-centered, abusive, and a bully. All right, so that is it. We went through the major arcana. We went through all of the suits. Now I'm just going to give y'all some tips that I've gotten, you know, throughout learning how to read. So if you all do not know, I initially did not start reading cards to try to be a psychic. It was just to learn symbolism. I had been watching Ashira, Star Goddess, in her videos about manifestation and her videos about decoding, and she was saying, you know, a good way to learn symbolism in order to decode text, ancient text, would be to learn how to read cards. So that is why I started reading cards, and I would do this while I was at work. I would have my cards out on my desk and I would be looking at them as I was working and, you know, studying the symbolism. And then eventually my coworkers started asking me for readings and I would say no, and they would ask me over and over again until I started giving them readings. Then I started getting into different tarot groups on social media and giving readings to strangers that I met in those groups. Okay, so it has probably been about 2 years. It was before COVID. I'm gonna say it's been about 2 years since I've been reading cards. So this is just information that I've gotten. So you will want to pay attention to the colors, the animals, and the symbolism used in the cards, because that is going to help you get intuitive hits. That's going to help you understand what message is being given. Okay, that also can help you put the cards together. So there's, you know, reading the cards by themselves, but then if you have 3, 4, 5, 7 cards, you have to be able to put it all together. Okay, pay attention to the synchronicities that you see. Learning the meaning of colors and symbolism does help when you're reading cards, because most of the people that are creating the cards are being intentional and they're putting clues. So they're using certain colors for a reason. They're using certain symbols for a reason. So you want to understand what symbolism is. If there is a color that's standing out to you in a card, go ahead and look up that color, see what that color means. Also, you want to pay attention to what information intuitively comes to mind when you first see the card. What just automatically pops up in your head. Again, as I said earlier, reading cards is a mix of knowledge and intuition. So sometimes your intuition is going to be the opposite of what you know a certain symbol means, or what you know a certain color means. So it could be that that person needs to work on that, or that person is lacking that. So again, rely on your intuition as well as your knowledge. I would do daily readings on myself, and that's what helped me to learn. But one mistake that I made was trying to read too many cards at a time. I would have like 10 cards, and there was a guy in one of the tarot groups I was in. He was like, you are trying to read too many cards at one time. You need to stick to 1, 2, or 3 cards. Okay, figure that out, and then you can add as you go. So I would start with 1 to 3 card readings. I am just a very ambitious person, so I push stuff to the limit all the time. But it would be easier to learn the meanings if you're not having information overload by trying to read too many cards at one time. I would also keep a tarot journal. Write down your thoughts about the readings, and then you can go back and reread it. Or you may notice a pattern. Every time I see this particular card in a reading, this is what comes to mind. This is what is happening in my life. Pay attention to what's happening in your life when you're doing the readings. So that's why it's good to journal that stuff, so you can start to understand how your guides communicate with you. What certain cards, just like when I say, when I see the Justice card, to me that represents me. Okay. Do practice readings on other readers or volunteers in social media groups, or practice on people you trust. So it is good to do readings on people you know, but you kind of do need to do readings on strangers as well, because you have no information about these strangers. People you know, you already have some background information, so you don't know if that is just your intuition or if it's just because you already know that person. So I would do there's plenty of people that are willing to allow you to practice on them online. So you can just join some different groups and you'll find people that are willing to help you, and tell them that in order for you to spend your time and energy giving them a reading, they need to reciprocate by giving you feedback, letting you know if you're right. Sometimes you will do a reading on somebody and they don't give you any feedback. No, I need to know, was I correct? What was I right on? What do you have questions about? You know, did you understand what I said? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Okay, so it is an energy exchange. So if you're going to be doing free readings on people, they need to reciprocate by giving you feedback. You can also ask them to give you written feedback, so that way you have reviews to show people. Also, don't be afraid to look in the book or look up the meanings of certain things. The way that I learned, I would do readings on myself And I would look up all the different meanings. If I got the Knight of Wands, I was looking up 5-6 different meanings of the Knight of Wands, but I would go with what stood out to me, what resonated with me. You will find several different interpretations online throughout people that you talk to on YouTube of certain cards, but you want to go with what resonates with you. Do not be ashamed to look at the book until you are comfortable just using your intuition, until you have memorized. Again, we're talking about tarot, which is, there is a foundation. There is stuff that you do have to learn about each card, whereas Oracle is more based on symbolism and it's more based on your intuition. So it is okay to look up what the actual meanings are. Also, try different reading styles. You can deliver your readings to people in various different ways. You can do it in person. You can do it in email. You can do it in Messenger. You can do it over the phone. You can do live videos, Zoom calls, or you can do pre-recorded videos and send it to them. You can tell them, you can ask me one question and I'm going to do a reading over that one question. You can say, I want specific questions. You can say, I'll do general readings. I'll do love readings. You can give them a topic. Do you want love, money, general, career? Or what is your specific question? I started off by telling people I wanted specific questions. I think that's probably the best way to do it when you are learning. So that way you have something specific to focus on. I also do general readings as well, just whatever is coming up. You will surprise yourself with how strong your intuition is. You will get information and you'll be nervous, like, oh my God, I don't know if this makes sense. And then you tell the person and they're like, oh my God, that's so, I was just thinking about that. Or, oh my God, that makes so much sense. So don't be afraid to do the readings and to trust yourself. When I first started doing them, I would be doing them while I was on my lunch breaks and stuff at work. So I would do them via email or messenger. I would tell people, send me your question and I'll get to it when I get to it. Because I had a busy schedule. So they would send me their question, and then whenever I had time, I would do the reading, write down all the notes all the information, the intuitive information that I was getting from those readings. Then I would type up an email or a message and send that to them. I'm a strong writer, so that's one of my strengths. So it was easy for me to be able to do that, and it allowed me to do the readings whenever I had time. I didn't have to, and I would say, I'll have this to you by Tuesday or whatever. So I had, time to do it whenever I could because I have a very busy schedule. Some people, writing isn't their strong suit. They may do them over the phone because they're more comfortable. It's less work to do it over the phone, I'm not going to lie, because you are just doing it in real time and you're not having to actually type something up, make it make sense, make it look pretty and all that. Like, I had a whole template and everything that I would send. So you can do it over the phone. You can do pre-recorded videos. I've done this in every single way except for a live video. I'm not one to be going live like that. So just try different things out to see what reading style works best for you. Also, be wary of people who are addicted to readings. No one should be asking you for a reading over the same thing every day or every week. You are going to run into people that do that. Those people are not looking to evolve. Those people are looking for certain answers and refusing to accept the reality of the situation. So you do not want to contribute to people being addicted to readings, not doing the self-work, not doing the shadow work, ignoring certain signs. When you start to see people coming back every day, every week, asking you the same stuff over and over again, they haven't taken anything that you said or any of the advice that you said into consideration. So be wary of that. Also, not everything is going to make sense at the time of the reading. Sometimes the pieces are going to come together later on. It is okay to let people know you don't have all the information about a situation. Sometimes people's spirit guides are giving you bits and pieces on purpose. They don't necessarily want you to know every single thing. Sometimes they want that person to figure it out themselves, and they're giving you enough information to relate to them so that person can figure it out themselves. Sometimes information is sensitive and people's spirit guides don't want you to know everything, okay? So sometimes you are not going to get all the information. That happens to me all the time. When I get readings, people tell me I'm hard to read. They never get the full puzzle. They only get pieces, and then I have to figure it out. And these are people that are very good readers. They know what they're doing. They are on point. They are accurate. But that's just how my spirit guides are. They know that I'm intuitive myself, so they want me to do the work. You do not want to lie to somebody and make stuff up and tell them you're seeing something you're not seeing just to try to make it make sense. If something is not clear, you need to tell that to that person. Sometimes it's not clear to you and it doesn't make any sense to you, but when you say it to them, something clicks and they understand exactly what's happening. So be confident. Don't let anyone talk you out of what your intuition is telling you. They're getting a reading from you based on your intuition. Now, with that said, you do need to know the difference between your ego and your intuition. You need to be well balanced, okay? Before you start giving people readings, you have to be able to know when your intuition is talking to you, okay? And when something is something you should be telling somebody, and when you are confused, okay? So once you are clear and balanced, and you understand how to take your ego out of it, be confident. Set clear boundaries, okay? You will have people that become very attached to you. They become energy vampires. They think you are their psychologist. They think you're their best friend. They want to tell you all of their problems every single day. It's okay to end up making friends out of clients, but I would be wary of that. I would be careful of that, and set clear boundaries. There's people that'll be calling you on Facebook Messenger at random times, sending you voice clips, all of that stuff. You have to set boundaries. Sometimes people will have follow-up questions for their readings, which is perfectly fine. But if you see that they really are just trying to get another reading from you and it's more than follow-up questions, you need to let them know. You need to book another reading if you have more questions. If it's just to clear up your current reading, that's okay to answer their follow-up questions. So you're just going to have to determine what boundaries you have, so that way your energy is not being used up, okay? When you are intuitive, when you have a certain type of light, you're going to attract all kinds of people, good people, bad people, people that need to be healed, people who are energy vampires. It's not your job to be healing other people. You can help facilitate it. You can give them the information, but especially if you're an empath, don't feel like you have to, okay, overextend yourself. Know the signs for when you are not supposed to read for a particular person or situation. Yes, there will be times where you aren't supposed to read for somebody. Sometimes people have too much going on. They have too many negative attachments. You don't want to be involved. You don't want to open your world up to whatever they're dealing with. So there may be times where you get a gut feeling to not read for somebody. It is okay to turn them down, okay? You don't have to read for every single person that asks you for a reading. If you feel like you're going through too much in your life to even put energy into that, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to, be like, I'm not doing readings right now. I'm not doing readings today, or I won't do a reading for you ever. I'm not being led to read for you, okay? Some people out here are crazy. Protect yourself. Protect your clients before, during, and after your reading, okay? You may see, that there's a lot of people that came out talking about, all this bad stuff started happening to me when I started doing readings. The question is, how were you doing your readings? Were you protecting yourself? Did you know, what type of entities you were talking to? Were you being reckless? Were you reading for people you weren't supposed to read for? Were you letting your ego get in the way? Was it all about money for you? And you were starting to, lose some integrity. If you're doing that kind of stuff, yes, Bad things can happen. Anytime you're opening any type of spiritual portals or communicating with the other side, bad stuff can happen. Okay, but if you're protecting yourself and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and you built a relationship with your spirit guides, like for me, I started with ancestors and then I moved to spirit guides, you know, you should be fine. So understand how to protect yourself and your clients. And that is before, during, and after a reading. Also, be intentional with the phrasing of your questions. Make sure you are clear about what information your customer is wanting so you can phrase the question correctly. Sometimes you may have to rephrase their question based on the information they're looking for. So sometimes your customers may not be able to articulate what they want from you, what information they want. So they may tell you they want something, or they may pose their question a certain way, but you really you find out that they really want other information. So for example, somebody's intentions towards you and their feelings for you can be different. If somebody asks, how does this person feel about me? You could get all these great cards, right? They love you. They think they're attracted to you. You know, they want to make you happy, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but their actions aren't lining up with it. You need to ask, what are their intentions towards you as well? Do they intend to follow through? Is this all in their head, but they're still too immature to actually, you know, let me know, to actually be with one person, to actually try to make somebody happy? What they're thinking in their head and what they're actually doing won't always line up. So, you know, let people know that the wording of their questions are important. Help them to, you may have to ask 2 questions, like, how does this person feel about me and what are their intentions towards me? So as the expert, it's kind of your job to help them to figure out what it is that they want. So that way you can ask the right type of question, because the way you phrase your question can affect the outcome or the answer that you get. All right, so that's it for my little tips and my interpretation of some of the cards. Well, all of the cards. So if you would like this information that was on the slideshow in a written form, I do have a tarot journal. It is called the Tarot Diaries, and you can purchase that on my Etsy shop, Capricorn Moon Goddess, or my website, www.capricornmoongoddess.com. I do have a video on this channel. If I can think to, I'll try to link it, but it's me showing you what all the pages look like. But the journal basically gives you a space to write down your daily readings, write down how you're feeling on that day and all of that stuff. It also has the meanings of every single card, and it has a space for you to write your own meanings as well and your own interpretations. Go back to my other slide, please. It also has examples of how to keep a journal of your readings, and it has a space for you to write down all of your birth chart information, because I'm into birth charts right now. Okay, so again, the Tarot Diaries Tarot Journal is available on my website and on Etsy, and I also have a manifestation journal, which I have a video about on this website too. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you feel called to do so. I know this was a long one, but there's 78 cards in this deck, so it was bound to be a long video. I will try to do timestamps. But again, thank you for taking the time for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.